If your income dropped 20% next month and prices jumped again, how many weeks could you cover your essentials before your credit card starts sweating? Yeah, it's not a fun thought, but it's a very useful one. In the next 8 minutes, I'm giving you a 7-step financial safety checklist you can use to make yourself more resilient. And in just a moment, I'll show you how to calculate your essential monthly number, the absolute bare bones, keep life running budget. Because when the world feels unstable, with recession fears, inflation, layoffs, and markets doing backflips, most people do one of two things. They either panic buy nonsense, like 200 cans of beans and a decorative sword, or they pretend nothing's happening, which is basically financial parkour with a blindfold on. Today, we're doing option 3, become harder to break. When uncertainty hits, people obsess over the wrong question. They ask, what investment is going to win? But the truth is, most households don't get crushed by a stock chart. They get crushed by the squeeze. The squeeze is simple. Your income gets weaker, maybe layoffs hit, your hours are cut, or clients disappear. At the same time, your costs get higher. Food, fuel, housing, insurance. Suddenly, your margin, your breathing room completely vanishes. That's the real villain here, having no room to breathe. So the right question to ask yourself is this: if my income drops while prices rise, can I still function? The first step to answering that is knowing your number. Let's calculate your essential monthly number. It'll take about 30 seconds. Ready? Grab a pen or open the Notes app on your phone. Your essential monthly number is the sum of these things: housing plus utilities plus food plus transportation plus insurance plus your minimum debt payments, and finally, basic healthcare costs. That's it. This is not your treat yourself budget. It's not your I deserve it budget. And it is definitely not your I'm healing my inner child with DoorDash budget. This is the bedrock. For example, if all those essentials add up to $3,200 a month, then 3 months of runway is $9,600. 6 months is $19,200. Write your number down. This is the foundation of your entire safety plan. Which brings us to step 1 of financial safety: build the emergency fund, or as I like to call it, anti-panic money. When the world gets shaky, cash isn't exciting, but you know what else isn't exciting? Calling your bank and asking, "Hi, yes, do you accept anxiety as payment?" Cash gives you options. It gives you time to pay bills without stress, time to job hunt without desperation, time to avoid selling your investments at the absolute worst moment. Most importantly, it gives you time to make decisions with your brain instead of your adrenal glands. So what's the target? Aim for 3 to 6 months of your essential number if you have a stable income. If your income is more volatile, maybe you're self-employed, commission-based, or in a vulnerable industry, you'll want to aim for 6 to 12 months. Keep this money safe, accessible, and boring. A high-yield savings account is perfect, because in a crisis, boring is beautiful. Boring is peace of mind. Think about it this way. Imagine 2 families, same city, same income, same inflation spike. Family A has 4 months of their essential number saved up. Family B has good vibes. Then layoffs hit their company. Both families lose 20% of their household income. Family A cuts back on a few extras, stays calm, and starts the job hunt feeling like a capable human. Family B immediately hits the credit cards, then panics, and then, in a final desperate move, they sell some investments after the market is already down. They're basically speed-running financial pain. Same world, same economy, the only difference was their buffer. Cash doesn't fix every problem, but it stops small problems from becoming life-altering disasters. Okay, step 2, reduce your fragility by killing monthly obligations. Recessions and uncertain times don't just punish bad luck, they punish fragile math. And financial fragility almost always looks the same: high-interest credit card debt, oversized car payments, and a dozen lifestyle subscriptions you forgot you even had. It's when your fixed expenses are so tight that your budget audibly squeaks. Here's the rule: the lower your required monthly spending, the more resilient you become.
So ask yourself these 3 questions. 1. What debt is bleeding me dry every month? 2. What expenses exist purely to impress people who do not pay my bills? And 3. If my income dropped by 20%, what's the first thing that would break? Think of your fixed expenses like a Jenga tower. Every unnecessary bill you pull out, like that $79 gym membership you don't use, doesn't make the tower wobble, it actually makes it more stable. Resilience sometimes is just canceling stuff. Now for step 3, protect your income. This is your #1 asset. A lot of people spend hours protecting their $100 investment portfolio, but completely ignore the thing that pays for their entire life. In uncertain times, some sectors get hit hard. Projects get paused, hiring freezes, and customers pull back. So you need a plan. First, become harder to replace at work. Be more useful. Learn high-leverage skills. Be the person everyone relies on to solve problems. Second, build a backup option. I'm not talking about launching 5 side hustles by Friday. Just develop one extra capability. Could you do some freelance work, consulting, tutoring? What service or digital skill could you offer? Third, keep your network alive. In a tough economy, jobs often show up through people you know long before they ever get posted online. And finally, keep your resume and portfolio updated, because the worst time to update it is right after you need it. I once knew someone who got laid off and said, "No worries, I'll update my resume tonight." The problem was their resume was from 2017. It listed Microsoft Word as a key skill, like it was some kind of black magic. Meanwhile, their coworker who got laid off from the same team had a living resume and a warm network. They had interviews lined up within a week. Same layoff, different preparation. Next, step 4. Don't confuse investing with safety. Investing is critical for long-term wealth, but it is not the same as safety. Safety answers the question, can I pay my rent next month? Investing answers the question, will this asset grow over the next 10 years? When fear spikes, people run to 2 dumb extremes. They either yell, sell everything, or they go all in on some so-called safe asset they don't actually understand. The right way is to think in layers. First, your cash buffer for safety, then manageable debt, then protected income, and finally, your diversified long-term investments. Panic selling your investments after a market crash is like selling your umbrella because it started raining. It's the worst possible move, turning a temporary loss into a permanent loss. Step 5, watch out for emotional traps, because fear is a salesman. During unstable times, fear will try to sell you nonsense like it's a limited time offer. You'll hear things like, the entire system is collapsing tomorrow, or this one magic asset will save you, or buy this right now before it's too late. Fear is loud. Preparation is quiet. Emotional discipline is a real money skill. The most dangerous financial moves happen when people are tired and scared. Panic selling, reckless borrowing, gambling on a miracle asset, or just trusting the loudest voice on the internet. All right, let's pull this all together. Here are your final steps, which are really a summary of the whole plan. Consider this your 7-step financial safety checklist. 1. Know your essential monthly number. 2. Build a cash buffer of 3 to 6 months of that number, 6 to 12 months if your income is volatile. 3. Attack your high-interest debt. It's a stress multiplier. 4. Lower your fixed monthly expenses. This is your fragility killer. 5. Protect your income. Remember your skills, your resume, and your network. 6. Keep your long-term investments aligned with your long-term goals. Don't confuse them with your safety net. And 7. Pre-decide your rules for a crisis so that fear doesn't get to be the one driving the car. You can't predict every recession. You can't predict every supply chain disruption or global event, but you can build resilience. More cash, lower fixed costs, less bad debt, stronger income, and calmer decisions. Because the strongest financial position isn't being fearless, it's being prepared enough that fear doesn't control you. Financial safety isn't about perfect predictions. It's about having enough stability that you can absorb the shocks without collapsing. So I'll leave you with a question to think about. In a crisis, what do you think matters more? having a huge cash reserve, or having multiple ways to make an income? There's no single right answer, but what you lean towards says a lot about your financial philosophy. Think on it, be prepared, and I'll see you in the next one.